Greetings, divine, all blessed greetings and salutation. It is another rendition of Revolutionary Hoodoo, New Orleans Voodoo, Secrets and Recipes. All is truly and indeed a blessing if you can just see beyond the veils. I invite your participation right now at area code 845-277-9143, 845-277-9143. When you are ready with your question, comment, or request, please do press the number 1 on your telephone keypad. I will be more than happy to unmute your mic and bring you into the
show will go live in 5 seconds.
Welcome, blogtalkradio.com/the-divine-prince. And of course, I welcome my social media, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, EarthCam page, my YouTube audience. Please come on in, StreamYard, come on in. Please feel free and welcome to utilize the URL link scrolling at the bottom of your screen. And you can also join us with your question, comment, or request. Welcome, welcome. It's a new day. Come on in. It's Friday, July 30th. It is my maternal grandmother's birthday. May she rest in a room. May she rest in heaven. All is truly and indeed a blessing. Come on in. Well, come on in and welcome. Akwaba. Akwaba. Yes. My beloved co-host, my cousins, will be with me momentarily. All is a blessing. All is a blessing. Baboni, Baboni. Peleo, Peleo. Yahuru Waku. Yahuru Waku. Akwaba. Akwaba. Jumbo. Abarkani. Jumbo. Kedu. Kedu. Come on in, greetings one, come on in. You're welcome to join us here now live. Revolutionary Hoodoo, New Orleans Voodoo, Secrets and Recipes. All is truly and indeed a blessing. Come on in, welcome, welcome my Blog Talk Radio audience. I certainly do appreciate you from China to Russia to India. Come on in. Pakistan, come on in. Democratic Republic of Congo, Niger, welcome, welcome to the house. Ghana, come on in. Cameroon, come on in. Nigeria, welcome, welcome. South Africa, welcome indeed, beloved. Morocco, welcome. Brazil, welcome. Argentina, thank you so much. Hong Kong. You could be enjoying the Olympics right now, but you are sitting live with the Divine Prince in Hong Kong. Australia, the UK, Canada, the US, come on in. All is a blessing. Greetings, my beloved cousin Lakeithia. Greetings, greetings, friends and family. Greetings, Keita Coleman. Welcome, beloved. If there are any technical glitches, somebody please let me know. Type it in the chat. Welcome, welcome, Revolutionary Hoodoo, New Orleans Voodoo, Secrets and Recipes. All is a blessing.
Come back home to Africa. Come back home. Come back home.
My maternal grandmother would have been 99 years old today. All is a blessing. Welcome, greetings, and salutations. All is a blessing. Welcome. Come on in, Otun. Eshu Aleguana Kosi Were Awo Onlo Uto Ne Iwo Ada Afanbo Osi O Batalami Itani Ebo Onilio Abane Shu. Eshu is the respected elder who flogs, confronts, and uncovers fools. That one versed in mysteries uses truth to own you. He causes scatter to feed poverty. Obatala shakes rascals to have sacrifice. The owner of warnings is the one who is Eshu. Aboru, Aboye, Aboshishe, Ashe, Ma Ebo, Richarun. Heaven, may our Ebo be accepted. May our Ebo allow what we desire to come to pass. And so we say, Ashe, Asheo, and Ashe. I'm always honored, humbled, appreciative to be here with you in this shared sacred space at high noon, U.S. Central Standard Time on many platforms and social media, and of course, StreamYard, YouTube, and blog talk radio. I'm always honored to share that what Spirit would have me to give, that what the ancestors would have me to do. And I'm also certainly appreciative of your time, your sacred space, and your bringing that energy here at high noon with this audience. We are most certainly grateful for you, for each and every one of you, my cousins and myself. We're certainly appreciative. You are indeed listening now live again to the Divine Prince, listening, sitting with, viewing, depending on the platform that you might be on, with the Divine Prince, Pan-African Spiritualist, Practitioner, Author, and Advisor, Elagun, Oloye, Hoodoo, Obeya Bokur, sharing with you in all things spiritual, mystical, metaphysical, cosmic, evolutionary, revolutionary, healing, and holistic from a Pan-African Hoodoo world spiritualist perspective, understanding that all is truly and indeed a blessing. If you can just see beyond the veils, for it is all just an illusion and a test of one of the greatest divine mysteries of this life cycle. This is indeed my personal and constant prayer. It is my mantra. It is my affirmation, my reverberation, and my reiteration. And indeed, it is my ever-living reality. All is a blessing, is crucial to the very foundation of my inner standing. My teaching, my walk, my work, my demonstration along this divine, all blessed life path and journey. It is how I, the Divine Prince, make sense out of all that we're challenged with, here in our daily existence on Mother, Father, Earth. And it is my personal place of power and empowerment, the place from where I begin, the place from where I crystallize and realize all my endeavors, understanding that I and I alone create and co-create my divine destiny, and I alone create and co-create my divine, all blessed reality. And so it is, Ashe. Today is Friday, July 30th. This would have been my maternal grandmother, my mother's 90th birthday. May she rest in heaven, may she rest in a room. This July 30th, 2021. And I am emanating, vibrating with you now live, virtually, verbally, cosmically, quantum universally from this working temple of the House of the Divine Prince, sharing with you in not only, the herbs, roots, plants, rituals, spirits, and traditions, and of course, our beloved Denise Augustine, and she said she'll be here Monday. She will be here Monday. She's caught traffic right now, but she'll be here Monday. She says indeed our sacred stories. And indeed, these are our sacred stories. They're first our personal stories, our individual stories as a soul, as a spirit, as a human being. And indeed, each and every living, breathing individual has a story to share, to tell, to encourage, to promote, to motivate others to change their circumstances, to change the look of the illusion, to meet the challenge, and indeed rise to the occasion of becoming greater gods and goddesses. If you don't understand, that is indeed my understanding of our human journey, is to integrate spirit, the divine, with earth and the physical and the human, and to create and to build greater gods and goddesses as we continue to move forward in our evolution. And who knows right now to where and to what that might be. I certainly believe it's far beyond just heaven. We've talked on many occasions on this show, even about extraterrestrial intervention. So indeed there are, and it fits right into the math of string theory, the notion of other worlds, of other realities that mirror this reality, but also worlds that don't mirror this reality, i.e., albeit heaven and hell, that exists beyond this physical plane existence in which we operate in. So voodoo, an ancient fond word meaning spirit, indeed is about spiritual power, spiritual empowerment, navigating the realm of spirit. And I've always said, and I've always taught, and I quote myself, spiritual knowledge and power lies in its efficacy, its ability to produce and manifest powerful, reliable, tangible, lasting manifestation and results right here, right now, in this most present moment in time space. For indeed, it's this moment that we have, that we live and have our being and our operation in. Yesterday is a memory, and tomorrow is but a dream. And so indeed, the magic, the voodoo, the Ifa rest in what we do and how we feel and what we manifest and what we bring forward in our demonstration in this present moment. All else is vanity, all else is ego, all else is an illusion. And indeed, the creation of sacred space is critical to all that we do, we think, we say, we demonstrate, we bring forward in this space. And so I'm always humbled by my cousins, my blood cousins, Otun and Oloye, for helping in the creation of sacred space. We create a powerful triune, the three of us here. And in so doing, we open a portal, a dimensional space for understanding, for healing, for empowerment, for change, indeed for magic and for activism and for community building and nation building and all that good stuff. But indeed, I couldn't do it. I have done it and probably could continue to do it by myself. But the two of you bring a whole new dynamic to this space. And so I never wanted to be lost on you, my gratitude for your time, your energy, your ministries as individuals, but also for your power and your purpose. And I need you to know your names are in the mouths of many people you all have not even met yet. My mother, some of her friends, both of our collective ministry communities. I did a powerful podcast last night, a weekly podcast actually that I've been doing that very few people really know about, with the illustrious Rainier Cheeks, Bishop Cheeks from Washington, D.C. If you aren't familiar with Rainy Cheeks, you better ask somebody, you better ask your Google, you better ask your Bing. For short, put in Rainy, R-A-I-N-E-Y, last name Cheeks, C-H-E-E-K-S. And then you come back and tell me who the beloved Bishop Rainy Cheeks is. But we're building a virtual, another virtual temple space. And this one right now is particularly for LGBTQ who are religiously and spiritually inclined. So much like this audience, people who are coming from various religions, various denominations, various spiritual groups, from the Akan and the Yoruba and the Airway to Christianity, Islam, Judaism, and are first addressing healing, our own inner healing. But then we will gradually evolve and expand this virtual spiritual space to include the greater community. Once we've fine-tuned all the tweaks and the bugs that happen with technology. So indeed, I'm grateful for the technology, but I'm also grateful for more so my family, my mom, my sister Wapani, my cousin Otun, Ifatomiwa, my beloved cousin Oloye, Ifawole, Oladeji, Ifatande, both of which are doing really powerful grassroots activism, ministry, men's ministry, women's ministries within their own communities. And we represent a broad spectrum of the United States to my international audience. As you know, I reside and work and live in this beautiful enchanted city of New Orleans, Louisiana, historic Treme. My beloved cousin Otun is in Virginia, in the Richmond area. And my beloved cousin Oloye, Ifawole, is in that historic Tulsa, Oklahoma area. I won't say anyone's particular neighborhoods. They'll share that with you when you're ready to come and have an appointment with them. But we represent a large spectrum of community, of background, of interest. And so we take a great deal of stewardship. I like that word, stewardship, responsibility, authority over, to put the work into, to protect and to defend all the things that make up what good stewardship is. You know, somebody in my past life told me once that some of us are not millionaires yet because we are not good stewards of what we already have. And when I started looking at that on an international level, you know, what does $2,000 mean in New Orleans, in Chicago, versus, or not versus, but in comparison to Cambodia, Ghana, Nigeria, Uganda, some of our nations in the Central America and South America, Haiti. What's $2,000 in Haiti? And so having stewardship over what you have, taking care of it. Big Mom used to say, you got to take care of what I give you. If we give you toys, if we give you clothes, you take care of it. That's showing stewardship. Makes it last longer, makes it look better. It also says a lot about who we are in terms of character. Some of us have a little bit of a military background. I know that's shocking to some of you, that I might have a military background, that I was once upon a time in the Army in a past life, you know, but we're also taught there about stewardship over your uniform, over your possessions, over the things in your space, and how that reflects on who and what we are and what we do. And so in our continuing topic, I want to allow Otun and Oloye to give their offerings and their greetings and salutations. And then we're going to continue on our week topic about the church and religion. Let me say it verbatim. Why we hide our trauma inside of religion. So Otun, if you will, beloved, come on in. Greetings, and greetings to my chat.
Aboroboye Boshise, Divine Babaloye family watching and listening. I want to give greetings and honors to my Luo, Prince Baba, Edabayo Latona, and Olari, Ifatoyen, Iyalode, Egbenike Oyebola Latona, and IleIfaOladeji. I would like to say I am looking forward to this continued topic. The beginning of the discussion was wonderful. I really enjoyed how we were able to connect to different things, different subjects, to all pull together for not just a commonality, but that it resonated. with a lot of people, especially those that were watching and listening that I could see in the chat. I appreciate everyone sharing and look forward to you sharing more because this is possible because of you. So there is no irrelevant situation. Please feel free to share. If you're not in that space where you're comfortable to do that, we still appreciate you. And I look forward to interacting with everyone. Blessings to you all. And I turn the mic over to Baba Oloye. You're on mute.
All right, thank you. Oboro Boyabashise to everyone, to my cousins, to everyone. I give thanks for another day of life. I give thanks for another day journey. And so today, in honor of the grandmother, I believe he said, of Divine, let me share prayer as
Evangelist Sarah, just mother. My mother.
Okay. All right. Let me give prayer for Egungun today in honor of her. Ibashegun, Egungun kiki Egungun, Egun ikoran ranfe auko pipe. Oraso bumfune Egun ekebata bango Egun de be about for atore na le Egun ashe. We give honor and praise to the Egun, those who have come before, those whose blood runs through our veins. We honor and give praise to them. We ask them to intercede in our life, to elevate our conscience, to be protectors, to be supporters, to help us to endure all things that they have gone through in their life and all things that we are going through in our life, that the wisdom of the ancestors will always be with us, that the strength of the ancestors will always be with us, that they will lift us up and elevate us to the highest level of our destiny, and also to be blessing us with all the good things and sweet things of life. So we honor them, we give thanks to them, and we pray here with us every step. When I make a step with my right, may they be there. When I make a step with my left, may they be there. When I hand something with my right, may they be there. When I move my left, may they be there. May they be in my conscious thought. May they be in my heart and my spirit. So may the ancestors manifest their will upon us. May we continue to do their work. May we continue to elevate them, lift them up, that they'll never be forgotten. Ashe.
Ashe, ashe, ashe.
So again, I honor and give thanks to you all for your blessing of being here. And I pray that today's topic will be beneficial to each and every one of you in some way, shape, or form. And even if not primarily to you, but to somebody that you know. Trauma is something that we all deal with in many, many different facets of our life. Some of it is so well masked that we really don't even know that it's still a part of our life. And so when we look at trauma and we look at what we can consider PTSD, we look at PTSD sometimes and the struggles and challenges of people going through PTSD. And many of us don't have nearly an understanding of why sometimes they make the choices and decisions might. When we look at people who have gone through trauma in their different spiritual environments, many have had sexual predators as pastors and everything else. Many have had problems with other areas of their life because of the spiritual leaders. So trauma in our spiritual environment, trauma in our everyday life, that sometimes we throw everything into religion. Sometimes the trauma that we deal with, man, you know, we have to be able to address it in a righteous way in order for us to manifest a full divine healing, a full healing. And when we don't have that, then sometimes it continues to stagnate us in choices and decisions and in the path that we have for ourselves and that the Creator has for us. So I leave you with that for right now. And I know that my cousins will kind of guide, just like Ochosi. Once Ogun clears the way, it is Ochosi that is the divine GPS that takes us where we need to go in the fastest possible way. So I give honor and give thanks to Ifa, to Oludumare. And, you know, I've been kind of, even in my own life, in my own journey, I still have to give thanks to those who shared and gave to me. So let me do this and give thanks to Oba Fifekbeme Fashem Funsola. And let me give thanks now to Oluo Fashegun Ategbe out in Oyo. Let me give honor and praise for those who have elevated and are still helping me to elevate even to higher levels. And so I give thanks. I give thanks.
Ashe, and I want to join you in giving thanks to all of those priests and priestesses and Babalaos and Iyanifas that came before, many of whom I've featured here in this space. I've featured here in my house in ceremony, and I don't call their names out here in this space quite enough. And particularly Awo Ifasakin, may he rest in Orun, and Iyanifa Mama Yeye from both from the state of Georgia. May they both rest in Orun, and many others who, you know, again, I often don't have time to mention, but it's certainly in my activities as a Ekun priest and a practitioner of ancestors. We pour libation, we feed these ancestors, and we indeed call them by name frequently here in our sacred spaces. But I also wanted to sort of share my most visceral response to that question, why we hide our trauma inside religion. And I do think about it in an ancestral context. I do think about it in terms that we created religion. We birthed religion and gifted religion to the world. We birthed spiritual practice. We birthed ritual and ceremony to the world. And the context in which we operate in that has shifted greatly in the last 2,000 years. And so we've shifted our power away from ourselves to outside ourselves, away from nature to pharmaceutical companies, away from the natural organic processes to what's more technical and commercial and readily accessible. And so as we introduced yesterday in the discussion, how we define religion, how we define spirituality, how we define church, has everything to do with how we answer that question and why we need to answer and address that question. The natural inclination for indigenous people to seek spirit for an answer, to seek nature for an answer, must be revived and strengthened in its modern context, so that our spiritual houses, our sacred spaces, are indeed places of not just money exchanging, as was introduced in the conversation yesterday, neophyte Bokur and the Christ and the money changers in the house of God, but also so that indeed the healing takes place. The natural organic healing of body, mind, spirit, soul indeed takes place, so that the trauma is transmuted into something that is more beneficial, more helpful to not just the individual, but to the collective. So I would also like to open the conversation to express alternatives to just church or just religion, to include how we address ATR in addressing traumas and continued traumas, and not just old, ancient, historic traumas, but new traumas that are arising now with new challenges in a modern society. Somebody take the mic. I got a pot boiling over on the stove.
Okay. So, you know, when we think about trauma and we think about theological institutions, many times the trauma that we face is because of the manner by which the leader exerts his power over those who desire a way of looking at their journey, their path, and this person is supposed to be their guide. But they've taken now advantage of their position, and they've taken advantage of the power that has been allotted to them, whether allotted to them through their particular spiritual institution, or whether it's given to them by the power of the people who have chosen to follow. I say this all the time, and I'll continue to say this. There is nobody, absolutely nobody, who is so high that they are not lifted up by those people who are under them, who are supporting them, and who are trying to do the work and follow their lead in their journey. But we have to be mindful of not thinking that we're same level as God. And many times when we look at these pragmatic leaders, I will not call names out, but pragmatic leaders of different theological persuasions, those particular people sometimes take advantage of their power and thus take advantage of those in the desire and the design to follow their journey, to follow their guidance to guide, to elevate, to lift up, to support on their journey. And thus, when that happens, you have people who turn their self away from any type of spiritual journey, because they then feel that now is that place of hurt, and that place of hurt runs deep. And it's hard for somebody, when they have that deep level of hurt, to overcome that deep level of hurt. We know of so many people who have a deep level of hurt in many different areas of life. And their challenge is to go into that deep place of hurting in order to now go in to start the healing process. How many people have been physically abused? How many people have been sexually abused? And now they refuse to even go and report that. So now here they are years and years later, and that pain and suffering that they dealt with is still someplace in them. And then maybe they decide that they're strong enough to now go and seek the proper help and the authorities, only to hear now that it's relatively too late. We have to look at our healing and the trauma that's being set forth, even in these theological institutions. And we have to be honest about what we are allowing to happen in our lives by these so-called leaders. There's so many, when I look at this, I look at everybody becoming a puppet under the so-called leadership of whoever the hell they're trying to follow. And when you step out to be your own self, now you're at war with that person. So
can I add or introduce a question? Do you believe that just the introduction of money, coin money, paper money, into the world plays a role in how religious practice has become corrupted over the centuries, not just in modern times, but just historically? We know abuses have taken place in most world traditions, if not all world traditions on some level. There's always going to be that person who comes through who believes that they indeed are higher than God, or have obtained fullness of God manifestation, even while still operating in this really dirty, polluted physical vessel that we all are committed to live in for a certain season. Do you believe that the introduction of money, bills, having to pay a mortgage, having to pay for power. Even before we begin to think about just outright corruption, but do you believe that just the introduction of money in world history began to play on how we place our value? Absolutely. And what is of value and what is valuable?
Absolutely. I mean, we can just look back at the Catholic Church and the power that they manifest. When we look back at that particular group, that organization, that we're looking at people that from the earliest days of time of that church, they were in a significant level of power, both financially and politically. And that power then was ruling sometimes those in rulership. So then it goes down to the view of a particular leader, whether that leader is leading in a good way or a bad way, whether his perspective is going to lead people to victory or to defeat. They're at the mercy of that particular leader because he holds a particular amount of power. If we look at it back then, it's still manifesting today. Let's look at the conservative, what is that? The conservative church that was following Trump. Is that, I believe, I forgot their name, but it was that conservative group of pastors.
The evangelical.
Yeah. And their following of Trump led to a particular level of power. And because so many people in this United States or divided states, whatever you want to call it, adhere to those things that Trump represented, it gave those church a significant place of power. I believe where the black pastors, when they went to see him, they made an absolute major mistake because they never settled to be able to go there and sit down and not be able to voice what is going to benefit the black community. When you have that place and you sit in a place with the person of power, you don't allow for your voice to be just squashed. Mm-hmm. Why did more people look at those black pastors that went there? Because they did not speak up for those who they're supposed to be leading and guiding and supporting and elevating. Mm-hmm. It would have been a totally different story if that fool didn't open his mouth, that dude from Ohio, and say this guy is the most progressive black person for black whatever. He sounded like an absolute fool. And now here we are with these other pastors, John Gray and all the rest of these guys who did not speak up and say anything in regard to elevating our people or seeing just what could be done to support our people. You got a guy who's in office that don't have nearly any black people, and the black people that he has sure ain't doing anything for their own. So now here we are as spiritual leadership. The people that are under us are the ones who really elevate our power. Because without them, what are we leading? We're not leading anybody. And the finances can be looked at and viewed both negatively and positively. Negatively, when a person gets this money and everything is just going to them and there's nothing that's being given back to those who are supposed to be supporting it. Now, just like I say, John Gray, in a negative sense, because he didn't stand up for our people there, I got to give it to him on a positive sense, because there were Sundays that I watched him that he sat there and allowed the people to go into the offering and take what they needed so that they could pay their bills during COVID. But on the other sense, because he was trying to hide stuff from his wife, he went and bought her that expensive car, which caught hell. So it's all about how we utilize what it is, or utilize the power, utilize the I guess the place of importance that those who are following the spiritual leadership give to the spiritual leadership. I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely, it does. I would pray that you don't need us to confirm that for you. Yeah, absolutely, it does. When I think about, and when I was a very dedicated and committed church follower, church goer, church musician, minister of music, and was trying to study my way back to finding myself. And I looked at the dynamics of church and religion and state, for that matter, from a more ancient perspective. What first dynasty Egypt have looked like? A society said to not have quote unquote religion but magic, but we know still had politics, still had government, still had taxes, still had many of the modern, ills that we now, grapple with in the West. What would that have looked like? And I think about the members of a community bringing their labors to the spiritual, i.e., religious community, to the storehouse, at the spiritual temple. So the grain, the seed, for the next generation of plant growth, for the next generation or season of food, when there wasn't water. And then there would be enough for the community. Everyone would have their share of coffee. Everyone would have their share of popcorn. Everybody would have their share of the beans, the greens, etc. And then somewhere tithing was introduced into the equation, and subsequently leading to what my cousin Oloye just described, lavish lifestyles, ministries, living lavish lifestyles of purple crushed velvet sofas and gold fixings and $100,000 cars and private jets and the like, and their communities, quite often their constituency or even their congregants, are still robbing Peter to pay Paul, are still stuck in the credit system, got their back against the tax man in the credit system, and many of the other quote unquote modern ills. And that's why I introduced the question, is it just the idea of money and material possession of value, taking the place, replacing inner value with outside demonstrative value? Is it that alone that has sort of changed the dynamic of how we view and operate in religion worldwide?
But it's part of it, because when you look at church right now, church is a business. And look at the bigger churches. I look at the bigger churches, right? Because they're the perfect example of the development of corporation. And the development of corporation says that I want to leave this church to the next generation. But the next generation is meant to then take this entity and then evolve it and expand it, because of course our generations are expanding. The youth is not going to see these things in the same way. So we now have where, and it's been going on for years like that, of course, that we hope our sons or daughters take up the ministry and this and that. But now it's a totally different ballgame with that. I look at, you can look at T.D. Jakes, and his daughter is a pretty good speaker. Take a look at Tony Evans. His daughter Priscilla is a wonderful speaker, and his sons are in their own realm as well. You take a look at different big time pastors and ministers. They're now setting the stage in the development of these. I think we talked about it the last show we did, where now these businesses, of course, are taking on the different multifacets that then allow for different funds to be coming in, and they're making that business like with the sub businesses being under it. So nothing wrong with it. It's nothing wrong with it. But of course, when money comes into the equation, sometimes it's now about the power that comes with the money.
But what you're describing might sound like nepotism, and if that sounded like a question, it was meant to. Could that possibly be nepotism? And again, when we look back to ancient Egypt as an example of bloodline lineages that held power and control and rulership for generations, and primarily around religion, you know, the ones who upheld the ancient Egyptian system of gods versus Akhenaten, for instance, who is credited with introducing monotheism to the world. You know, there's a book, oh wow, old book from the 70s. It'll come to me that even suggests that Akhenaten might be the biblical Moses. I know it's somebody in my audience that's read all the Black revolutionary books that come out since the 70s. Help me out with the name of that book. But it suggested that Moses was actually Akhenaten, introduced monotheism, you know, and of course created an uproar. Our cousin Ramses III was said to have been murdered and killed, you know, by his family and the priests over religion. You know, in many ways, much of what we're doing right here, right now, today, you know, for our nationalists listening, you know, we argue about being American or not being American, being ADOS and descendants of enslaved Africans, and how much freedom do we really have, and how much power do we really have, and how much liberation do we really have. And I ask the question, how well are we manifesting stewardship over what we already have, the inroads that our ancestors made to get us to where we are. And of course, as my cousin Oloye just suggested, the tools and the new nuances of spirituality, religion, diet, holistic living, healthcare, wellness that are going to move our whole society forward into the future. Zoom, if you have not gotten the news alert, if you didn't get the email, Zoom is the new religious space, y'all.
That's right.
StreamYard is the new religious space. Will there continue to be, you know, $1 million temples? Absolutely. Will there continue to be your Taj Mahals and your great, you know, religious centers of Judaic and Christian and Islamic importance? Absolutely. But as we continue to deal with new viruses and new pandemics and new diseases, and I'm not here to scare anybody, I just offer that you read Octavia Butler's book, The Parable of the Sower, SOWER, The Parable of the Sower. You know what I'm talking about. This is the new religious space right here. The brick and mortar, you know, is now going to take a second seat to virtual connection.
You know who Ibn R. Jordan is?
No.
Ibn R. Jordan is a dude that wrote a book back in the 1980s. And in this book, I forgot the name of the book, but in this book talked about every single thing that is happening right now. And not only did he write this book back in the 80s, he listed every single thing in divine order as to what's happening right now. And so we had people that do have prophecy gift, that seen this coming and spoke about the church and the different spiritual temples going from the brick and mortar into a different facet of, you know, how they're going about it. And now when I watch him, because he's from New York, and I knew him through martial arts. This man he's now known as the Black Prophet, because everything he said 30 years, 40 years before this time is absolutely on point, with no divinate, not anything off. Right now, it's wise. I don't care what spiritual tradition you listen to listen to him. Because right now, what he's saying or what he said back then is manifesting now. We're getting ready to go into the third phase. And this third phase is going to be the most deadly phase. Why? Because these variants, or whatever you call them, that are coming, with this, all the replications and all of whatever it is that you do, and what they do with this stuff, people had better start getting their health in order. I don't care whether you vax or don't vax. I'm not in that argument. What I am in the thing of, get your immune system built up. So look at how many people have trauma right now because they lost these people during their family members during COVID and couldn't even have a proper goodbye. Craig, I'm not talking about George Orwell. I am talking about Bernard Jordan, and he wrote his back in around that same amount of time, the 80s. I'll get written judgments. That's what it's called. It's called written judgments. And right now in this wave right here that's getting ready to happen, people have to be very, very critical of taking care of their health.
The law of thinking.
No. The written judgments.
I'm looking at written judgments, 4 volumes in one. The law of thinking.
It might be. Is it Bernard Jordan?
I think so. I might be spelling his name wrong. Is it Bernard or Bernard?
It might be Bernard, but he goes by Bernard now.
Okay, I'm gonna find it.
Okay. So I'm just sharing with you, when we talk about trauma, let's look at it from an honest evaluation. Right now, if people don't get it together and take care of their health and find value in taking care of their health, and try to build up their immunity system, their immune system, CMOS or elderberry. Otun, you help me because you know these things better than I.
So do I now.
Yeah, both of y'all.
Elderberry, any manner of citrus. I have 4 different variety of kumquats in my yard. I have blackberries in my yard. I have blueberries. Blueberries in my yard. Sunflower seed. We overlook that as a staple in the diet. I grow my own onions. I grow my own sugar cane, so I can make sugar cane juice for you diabetics, which is not the same thing as white bleached commercial sugar at all. Doesn't even affect your body in the same way. And of course, a variety of herbs, edible and medicinal herbs, plants, from anything you can think of. 4 varieties of mint, rosemary, stevia. Many of you, again, diabetics and low sugar intake participants who enjoy stevia. It grows just like rosemary, just like mint. Very hardy plant. It will survive cold weather, and you just grow it, dry it, grate it or break it down, and add it to your cooked foods or to your drinks. And indeed, there are overlooked plants like wandering Jew, purple heart wandering Jew in particular has chemical properties in it that attack things like Alzheimer's disease and breakdowns in the brain and concentration and Ori-centered energies. So yeah, and both Otun and I can help you greatly, and I'm praying that we continue to support Otun in specializing in women-oriented conditions as well, and bringing some of that information to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And
Come on, Otun. Come on, Otun.
What?
Garlic,
Come on.
garlic, onions, all of my back.
I'm agreeing with everything he said because there's no need for me to repeat it. Everything said was correct. Oh, I want to add also something good to have is that some people don't know about is slippery elm.
Yes.
Slippery elm is very good to have, especially when it's like cold and flu season, when you want to prevent mucus and things like that. It's very good because it stops the phlegm and stuff from sticking to your esophagus. It helps you flush all of that straight through. So that's something. And that I like to, use only in like applesauce or something like that. You don't want to put it in no liquid because it the consistency of the once you put it in liquid is like slimy,
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
guess you would. Yeah, it's like I don't want to say, but it's gross. So it's better like to put it in like applesauce or oatmeal or something like that. Much better, and it won't take on, like overpowered as far as flavor and stuff like that. So that's something that's good as well. But absolutely, I have also what's good for the body is hibiscus. Some people know it as sorrel. Um, that's made for the drink, but that's actually really good. It's good for allergies and things like that as well. I make a tincture with that for my family. That and I use turmeric.
Yes. I
Hmm.
swear by the magic of turmeric.
Turmeric. I
Hmm.
make a tincture with that as well. So different things that can be used. Like you said, herbally, some things can be cured and
Hmm.
used just in different ways. So absolutely, especially and if there's a health food store or something like that, or not a health food store, but the stores that have like the natural foods or I don't want to say Whole Foods, but it's like there's a store here called Elwood Thompson's, and they have like all natural stuff. It's like really expensive, but they got some really good. Some of the things, specific things in there are good. One of the things that they carry is local honey. Local honey is very important for your body because the bees that make that honey, depending on where you get it from, where that store gets it from, where that hive is located, especially paying attention to somewhere anywhere within 5 to 20 miles of your location. And that is important because a lot of the pollens and the things that's in the air and all of that stuff that your body can build up an immunity to that will benefit you, the bees are in contact with. So that honey is good for your system because it will also help build up your immune system and protect your body. So that is something very good to keep. Local honey, local unprocessed raw honey, raw
So
Can't
unfiltered.
say
I have
that.
a question for you guys.
Hold on for a
We're
second.
talk. Okay.
And we can't say that enough. Local farmers, local producers. I love honey that is produced near fields,
Hmm.
natural, unsprayed, untreated wildflowers.
Hmm.
Fields that bring, as Otun just said, those nutrients and elements to the honey that don't necessarily thrive in commercialized farming
Hmm.
settings. So I get my honey 5-gallon buckets at a time. It weighs 75 pounds, and it's shipped to me. And I use it not only in diet and medicinal needs, but also in spiritual work.
Uh-huh. I
Mhm.
should. So now what other herbs can we use that will help somebody in depression? Because now we look at these things and we're talking about building up our immune system, but we have to also build up our immune system in our ori, in our mind, in our thinking, in our spirit, because so many of us are going through at this stage, especially as this thing starts ramping up with numbers again. A lot of people are dealing with not knowing if how things are going to go with work, or how things are going to go with rent, how things are going to go with people's health that might be elders in their family. They don't know how things are going to go with just everyday being. What's going to be open? Are we going to close down again? Are we going to be forced to close down again because the numbers are going to ramp up so high that it's going to be no choice? Right now, we're getting ready to probably throughout this country, realistically, go back to the mask wearing mandates. I can see that happening. I can also see where now we might have to go and take phases back if these numbers continue to ramp up high quickly. And so I just believe that people are going to go through a lot of emotional stress and a lot of emotional heartache at this point in time for a minute. And what kind of things can we share with them, this audience, in terms of the natural holistic way of going about it? You're on mute.
Listen, I agree. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You know, we've already got the mask mandate happening here locally for the most part. I see politicians being very resistant for political reasons, not to shut down cities, states, again, much like we were March of last year. But the numbers suggest, this is not my opinion, that we are very near where we were of March of last year in terms of these new variants. This D variant, Delta, and that other, I think it's Lambda variant. It's in Brazil. It's the one close behind the Delta. So you don't hear as much, but it's coming. So yeah, I see us wearing masks. I see us being sort of locked in to some degree, much longer than we anticipate. There certainly will be another shutdown coming if things aren't handled, and I mean handled in like 72 hours. And the herbs that I offer are very easy to grow, very easy to find in the wild, growing in the wild in some of the city areas. And then, of course, can be propagated, you know, by seed or cuttings from other locations. St. John's wort is number one. You all walk over St. John's wort weekly if you visit a park, if you visit a running trail, if you visit a lot that haven't been cut, you know, in 2 summers. You've walked over St. John's wort and did not know what it was.
What does it do?
It's a common mental health treatment for hundreds of years, and you must be cautious in utilizing it. Take it in small doses until you learn how it affects your body. I strongly suggest that you still, you know, seek a therapist, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, and at least be monitored, if nothing else. If you are unwilling to take commercialized medications, and I totally get that, at least let them know I'm not willing to take that, but I'm willing to take this, and I need you to monitor my levels. A 2016 systematic review found that St. John's wort was more effective than a placebo for treating mild to moderate depression, and worked almost as well as an antidepressant medication. So it can be in conflict with medications you are already taking. So that needs to be balanced. You need to treat it like a medicine, and it needs to be balanced with what you might already be taking for depression. Another common plant that many of you walk over, couldn't recognize it in nature if it was right in your face, is ginseng. I discovered ginseng by following my Asian neighbors. Found these very beautiful flowering weeds in my neighborhood, and noticed that, you know, particular month, particular week in the month, they would all disappear. And I'm talking about empty lots, side of the road, and then you go back and it'd be gone. And I had to figure out what was that and why was it being harvested, and it was indeed ginseng. And this comes from, like turmeric, a root of a plant, American or Asian ginseng plant. Siberian, Asian ginseng are different plants with different active ingredients. There's even a third one, IleIfaOladeji, ELEUTHERO. So you want to be very clear about the variety of plant that you might be harvesting or growing and maintaining. Practitioners of Chinese medicine have used ginseng for thousands of years to help people improve mental clarity and energy, and reduce the effects of stress. Chamomile. Many of you are familiar with the commercialized chamomile, but whether you know it or not, chamomile is everywhere. You're driving down the highway and you're seeing just open fields of chamomile, but you don't know it because you can't readily identify your plants. And a study in 2012 reviewed data about chamomile, which comes from the Matricaria rucutita plant, and its role in helping to manage depression and anxiety. Another good plant for depression, anxiety, mental health is lavender. And lavender oil is a popular essential oil, but you can eat lavender flowers. I have you know, lavender is a edible herb, edible plant, and quite tasty too. Just imagine a good, I know I'm about to say something wicked to some of y'all, good sugar cookie made with stevia, not sugar, of course, but with lavender flower on it. It has just the sweetest, oh my goodness, I can't even describe what lavender flowers taste like. But
Have
if
you
you
had
can,
lavender ice cream?
yes, ma'am. And if you can imagine what the color purple might taste like, that's what lavender tastes like. so, so a 2013 review of various studies suggested lavender might have significant potential in reducing anxiety and, of course, in improving our sleep patterns. Another herb, seasoning, spice, plant, very popular in Asia, particularly India and Indian food. Ooh, I can't afford to buy a new phone. Is saffron. Saffron. And some studies cite that using saffron as a safe and effective measure for controlling the symptoms of depression. Um, there's a non-systematic review from 2018 that suggests that saffron had properties that were found to be very beneficial in addressing bipolarism, depression, and some other forms of or manifestations, I should say, of mental health. There's another product that I'm not very familiar with, but I'm aware of it. It's called SAM or SAMI. It's usually spelled capital S, capital A, capital M with the lowercase e. And it's short for S-adenosyl-methanine or methanine. It's a chemical or a drug, and it is a synthetic form of a chemical that occurs naturally in the body. And so people are suggesting that taking this product, and again, it's spelled capital S, capital A, capital M, lowercase e. And it's short for S hyphen ADENOSYL, adenosyl methionine, METHIONINE, methionine. And as it might sound, it's got some components to it that affect the body in a way similar to maybe what people are getting from meth and meth produced drugs. But this is a synthetic product that is reproducing something that naturally occurs in the body. I would also offer get more sunlight. People are just not getting enough vitamin D from sunlight in modern culture. Some of you are working in buildings with no windows, windows that don't open. Some of you live in apartment buildings that you can't even open the windows, or are already tinted. So you're thus reducing the amount of sunlight, sun energy that is entering your living space. I'm a door popper. That's what we call it here in New Orleans. I'm a door popper. In a peep, and I'm at the door. Any sound, and I'm at the door. I could be at my door at any hour of the day or night, hourly sometimes, looking both ways, listening. Sometimes I go out and walk one end of the block to the other. But in doing so, I get more than the needed amount of vitamin D and sun exposure necessary to maintain those serotonin levels and those other chemicals found in our body that help us to fight depression. And another one that's a little bit controversial is omega-3 fatty acids. I know we have vegans and vegetarians who are just not into eating meat, period. And I consume a limited amount of seafood in general, not just fish, but seafood in general. And it's out of a fear of chemicals in the water, contaminants in the water. And certainly we know our good Rasta sisterin and brethren suggest your shrimp and your lobster, clams, vacuum cleaners of the sea. But that's a very unpopular thing for me to say here in the city of New Orleans. This is indeed a seafood eating town, seafood eating state, much like Mississippi, much like the state of Maryland, where I grew up. I grew up eating at least a bushel of crab once a week. You know, I could walk up the block, you know, 3 or 4 blocks, you know, and for $5 back in the 70s and get a whole bushel of crab, seasoned crab, you know, and go home and get some newspaper and just tear that apart. So here in more recent times, I've slowed down a little bit on my consumption of seafood for obvious reasons and concerns. I certainly don't support farm-raised fish. If you don't know that there's a difference, there absolutely is a difference. You need to be careful about farm-raised fish and how they're produced. And if you aren't aware, you need to find out. Some of you are driving through Mississippi, through Alabama, through Georgia, through Maryland, and you seeing these little ponds of water out in the middle of nowhere on the side of the highway, and you think it's just overspill. No, that's a fish farm. And they're feeding them food pellets, you know, with various hormones and medicines. And some people suggest that tilapia is not even a real fish, that tilapia is not found naturally in the wild, and that tilapia was actually a creation, and it's thus maintained by production, you know, in fish farms. So I quit eating tilapia the summer of Hurricane Katrina. I haven't had tilapia since 2005. And if I do eat your menstruating fish, your fish that have oh yeah, boo-boo, I see your face, Otun. Your catfish has a period, honey, just like a woman. Your catfish bleeds. The catfish bleeds every month. And I learned this from Rastas, only to find out that it was scientifically true. And so that's another reason why they don't eat catfish. But I do eat catfish. I will eat wild-caught catfish. I will eat wild-caught perch on the occasion, you know. But yeah, I know. That's how I felt when I found out about it too. Yeah.
I think like this whole thing of diet, when it comes to trauma and comes to depression and it comes to the different struggles we might be having in health, all manifesting together, all combining together, it is essential that these particular things that we're talking about be very much documented and listened to for our own lives and families. You know, when we think back to the generations before us, they weren't going to no doctors. They didn't really have the money to go to the doctors. They had the remedies within the families. So think of the remedies in the families that were given by, you know, grandma, great grandma, whoever.
We're frozen. Are you with me? Are you with me? Blog Talk Radio, are you with me? StreamYard, are you with me? Everybody's frozen except me. Okay, so I lost Oloye. Is it New Orleans? Is it the internet? No, so I have internet. So it's not me. Oloye is back. Otun is still frozen, but okay. So maybe you need to reboot your camera. Okay, Otun is back in motion. I don't know what that was. A solar storm, maybe?
We're talking too much Ashik.
Yeah.
Giving too much information. Oh no, we can't let them black men give these people the information. Oh no, they uplifting the black man and black woman. Oh, shut them down.
Listen, I believe that. Listen,
I do too.
My evangelical mama believed that because we've experienced it too many times in the last 25 years. Me and Wapani and my mother be in some of the deepest conversations, y'all. I mean, deep. And we talking about the government. We talking about aliens. We talking about, you know, the mob. We talking about politics. You know, we talking about religion. You know, and we've experienced too many glitches when we start talking about certain topics. So beeping and pinging and losing signal and just craziness, craziness. We communicate by text, my family, my intimate family, every day, sometimes 5, 6, 7 times a day by text. We probably collect maybe 50 texts a day in the course of the conversations that we have, just in text. Sometimes we can't text nobody in the group. Can't receive a text from nobody in the group. Got to use a backup plan, a backup system, Skype or Facebook Messenger until that clears. So I do understand science, solar flares, man keeps going up into space, interfering with frequencies. I get that. But I also am open to theories, call them conspiracy, if you will, about government and other world governments, not just our own, China, Russia, interfering with technology and the dissemination of information. It's been suggested that certain states are making it illegal to grow herbs, are making it illegal to harvest edible plants naturally in the wild. I don't know how true that is, but you hear it in social media. Indeed, we know that we're fighting against a pharmaceutical company who would much rather you bought that bottle of aspirin rather than to grow that plant.
That's right.
Who would prefer you to, have diabetes and have to pay for insulin, insulin pens, the needles, testing supplies, the testing machine itself, $500, the test strips, $150 a month, needles that we use to pinch ourselves, to get the blood, to test ourselves, another $60 a month. The pharmaceutical company prefers that. They don't want to hear I found combinations of herbs that reduce my sugar naturally. And I've tested it, proven it at the scientific level. Denise Augustine will be here Monday. She'll tell you. She's also a diabetic. And so we like test bunnies, she and I. And we test things out, both of us. And we've seen it. We've seen me take that turmeric and baby, my sugar will drop. And I can walk on these legs like I'm 16, no pain, no nerve damage, no nothing. And then I can stop and don't do it for a week, because I do that for a week, 2 weeks, and certain conditions, certain symptoms will slowly make their way back.
Yes.
Yeah, so, some of you are skeptical. Some of you got a hard head like me. So some of you need to see it. Turmeric, I call it magical, because some of us need proof. Turmeric is the proof herb, baby. Now, if you slow to walk, if you got leg complications on the sound of my voice, nerve damage in your legs, maybe a little bit of neuropathy in your legs under the sound of my voice, try raw, organic turmeric root, the root. I buy them 5 pounds at a time from my supplier. They come in a canvas bag, a burlap bag. I buy them 5 pounds at a time, and I eat a root or 2 or 3, just like that, a day. Now, let me tell you, it's very fibrous. Honey, it's you're going to be chewing like you got chewing gum for a very long time. It's very fibrous. And sometimes I break it down, and then wash it down with your smoothie, your juice, coffee, whatever you might be drinking. But it is magical. Magical, okay? And walk and don't feel nothing in my right leg, not a thing. And be completely, out of touch with it in a moment, and we'll catch, Denise will be looking at me. Girl, what's wrong with you? But did you see what you just did? Did you see you just ran back to the house 3 blocks and ran back? Oh, I did, didn't I? I don't even think about it. It's magical. So if you some of y'all need some proof from some of these herbs, that turmeric will change your life, baby. That turmeric will change your life. And it works much more effectively with pepper. Black pepper.
Yes. Turmeric and black pepper.
Now I know chewing that turmeric is already, a challenge. I like to chew it with black pepper.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Black pepper corns. I eat the whole corns, 5 or 6 of them. You know, and I might mix them up with some leaves off of my spearmint, my sage tree. You know, I might mix them up with something sweet, not sage, stevia, sweet and tasty, but I like them naturally. Now, my good friend, Miss Gloria, who helps to maintain our 2 community gardens.
Mm-hmm.
We have 2 community gardens right here on our block, huge community gardens. She's in her 70s. I believe she's 73. She looks every bit of Otun's age.
21.
And she get around like she's 21. Yes, yes, yes. I mean, that woman, oh my goodness, I get exhausted just looking at her. Hauling dirt, digging, pushing a wheelbarrow 2 blocks away like it ain't nothing. Oh, child, this ain't nothing. You know, and sometimes she jokingly says that, you know, if she had been a slave, Master would have had to beat her to get her out of the field. Because she would have been at her freedom in the field. She would have been at her freedom out there in the plants and in the dirt. And she don't care. She's, honey, like my cousin Oloye, the heat don't bother her. 110-degree heat index, she ain't even, whatever, baby. I'm about to dig up this turmeric root. Whatever, baby. I'm about to go harvest these figs, you know, and we have a good time. Her daughter is an excellent chef, much like Chef Bougie. So she knows how to cook many of these herbs and roots and healthy plants, like the ashwagandha, you know, excellent for diabetes, hypertension, anxiety, and things that destroy the immune system. And indeed, it just will change your life. Just pulling a blackberry or a blueberry off the tree and eating that, kumquat and eating that. Unfortunately, a lot of your produce, some of y'all, that's why Otun didn't want to say whole paycheck. That's what me and Denise Augustine called the store. We called it the whole paycheck store. So we don't, you know, the whole paycheck store, because where do the plants come from? And why is organic important? Well, what does non-organic mean? Non-organic means you don't know what's sprayed on your food. You don't know what's in the dirt of your food. You don't know how it was harvested. That's what non-organic means. And so that's why you need to understand what organic really means. There's nothing like eating an apple off your own tree, eating an orange off your own tree. Now, it ain't free because we pay for dirt. We pay for water. You know, you put in sweat, equity, labor. So of course, it's not free in that regard. It ain't like you taking your whole paycheck to the cash register.
Yes.
For your healing. It ain't like what you're going to pay the doctor for your lab tests and for your check-in services and for the nurse checking your weight and checking your temperature and putting a cuff on your arm to check your blood pressure. She alone going to get paid, what, for $50,000 a year to do that, from either out of your pocket directly or out of your tax money. So it's much cheaper to eat healthy. It's much more economical to do what's in your best interest.
And it helps you to get through this thing that we're talking about of the trauma, the depression, the health issues and health concerns that many are going through. If you can find your way to begin to change diet, you know, Otun and I talk about a lot of this because she knows I'm going through this phase of diet, you know, diet and all this stuff. And so to change our diet is to change our life and to bring longevity. It is that.
Health is wealth.
Yes. And I look at it like in alignment with Obatala. Obatala has us on, you know, to eat diets that take us away from all of that, the what do you call that food when it's not organic and you process foods and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the whole realm of this holistic diet, holistic lifestyle, it is all about a very holistic and organic change in all areas of your life. And then it will go into how you manifest your spirituality, how you manifest your prayers, how you manifest every aspect of your life. So I hope that everybody is gathering from what we're saying. Change your mind, change your thought. It then changes your life.
Listen, I not only believe we're being monitored on Earth for frequency, but I also believe we're being monitored outside of Earth, indeed, for frequency. Greetings, beloved neighbor, Jeffrey Odyssey. That's one of my neighbors and friends here locally. Live right down the street. Yeah, he's witnessed the turmeric root work in person. Because he's seen me, not be able to barely move. And then eat some turmeric before we did our workouts, and then see me do things that I could not do previously. So it's quite powerful. It's indeed quite powerful. But back to frequency. Many of you remember me telling the story about my one and only direct contact. I think it was a fifth dimensional contact. I'm not sure if it was fourth or fifth dimensional contact on the scale with aliens or extraterrestrials. But it was through frequency work. And I was working with a piece of amethyst that had been polished and tapered, probably about that long and about that big around on one end, but much smaller on the other, and had maybe 21 sides to it. It was a perfectly faceted and cut stone. And then it had some stuff going on the inside of it that I can't even describe. If you looked into it, it looked almost like looking at digital data information. Especially if you remember the green screen computers from the old days, and things would move up and down, on the screen and across. And this quartz, this amethyst looked like that on the inside. And I had been meditating with it as I do with stones, particularly the first 90 days I get a stone. I try to keep it on my body as much as possible, if not 24 hours a day. Even if I had to put it in a pouch and wear it on my neck, or wear some shorts with pockets and zip them up and keep them on my body, so that it learns me, I learn it, the programming, the download exchange happens. And so I'm laying down, I'm in that twilight zone between not being asleep but not being entirely woke. I knew I had to go to dinner, an organized formal dinner, so I couldn't go to sleep. So you only got 15 minutes to close your eyes. You don't let your body completely go. But I was in between. And I'm hearing this digitized sound, but it also mimicked conversation. But it wasn't English, it wasn't Spanish, it wasn't French, it wasn't Portuguese, it wasn't Slavic, it was nothing Earth-like. I knew instinctively, what I was hearing was not Earth-like. And then I'm like, okay, wait a minute. And even in the meditation, I'm opening my eyes and I'm in like a conference room, an egg-shaped, oval-shaped conference room with a egg-shaped table separating me from the extraterrestrials. And they were grays with the big eyes, and they were looking at me, and I was looking at them. And when I realized where I was and what was happening, my natural body instinct was shock. A little bit of shock, a little bit of fear, like what the hell is really going on? And many of you have had this experience in your dream state where you feel like you're falling. They expelled me from the room like instantaneously. And I fell. I felt my whole spirit, my whole soul fall from out of that ship through space back into my body and jolted back into physicality. It was one of the most shocking spiritual encounters I've ever had. More so than ghosts, more so than demons and jinn, more so than possession. That was spooky for me. Not fearful. I didn't know what they were going to do. I didn't have the fear. I didn't have time to fear. Am I here to be dissected? Am I here to be experimented on? Has it already happened? None of that crossed my mind. And you might think, an afterthought, that there's signs of some degree of respect. It was a conference room.
Mm-hmm.
I was at the table, but it was clearly something that they feared in me that forced them to send me out of that room.
Mm-hmm.
As I scanned them, they scanned me. Mm-hmm. And I believe it's frequency, Shemafia. I believe it's energetic, Otun. The goddess 05, I believe it had to do with vibration and frequency. Mm-hmm. And they knew and felt something with me that we don't feel with every average human being every day. See, to us, this commonplace. We come, we meet at noon, we have lunch, we do our thing. But y'all know we the oddity in the world. Y'all realize that, right?
Maybe y'all are.
Yeah. In a spiritual context, most people are happy to be robotic. Most people are happy to be slaves. Most people are just happy to go along and not worry about the past, the future, up or down. I'm just only focused in on my moment. And some people are happy there. But some of us are called to do a certain degree of work, which requires us to have a intra-dimensional viewpoint that requires us to see things from more than one perspective. Gosh. And not always a rosy one. Mm-hmm. Ministry is not always rosy and cheerful and fun and celebratory. This is a lot of work, a lot of pain, a lot of therapy, a lot of surgery going on, spiritual.
And those who are doing, because we have people in the audience that do spiritual work. Be wise and get yourself to talk to somebody. I'm not telling you to go to a therapist, but I am saying that those of us who are doing the healing work sometimes don't realize how much we're holding on to and how then it starts affecting our health. And then before we know it, the things that we've been holding on to, now we're at a place of distress. So do yourself a favor. Be wise. Those that are doing spiritual work, be in tune with others to be able to talk and clear out some of the things, and don't hold on to that which is not yours.
You've got to do the work. I can't stress that enough. And it's hard for us to say it, and for some of you to sort of take that in, because you haven't experienced this yet. Mm-hmm. You're not truly I'm giving $5 readings on your love life. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people dealing with addictions, abuse, incarceration, the police, divorces, rape, real ministry, real stuff. Mm-hmm. Stuff that keeps you up at night, stuff that affects your diet, stuff that affects my ability sometimes to do exactly what my cousin is suggesting, which is to take care of me.
Yes.
And to worry about me. And sometimes, I'm up and I'm worried about you and your stuff and your requests. Sometimes more than you might be worried about your stuff and your requests. And so I need Oloye and Otun and my mama and my cousin Yvette to check me sometimes, on that. Sit down, sit back, shut up, be quiet, be still.
And that is why we can never, ever get to a stage when we feel that we are so high that we cannot receive things from people that have our best interests at heart, but that might see some things that will allow you to get your divine frequency in order and in alignment. We have to be very, very careful about getting to such a stage where we lose our humility, and where we lose not just our humility, but where we lose our ability to be healing for ourselves, so that we can assist others in the manifestation of their full healing. We can't guide others if we're not guiding ourselves. The healing has to start within ourselves first.
Yeah, Craig Burns, fairies, jinn, gnomes, elves. I believe the great books of the world, the Book of Enoch, the Apocrypha, the missing books of the Bible, the Vedas, the Torah. I believe the many sacred books of the world would suggest that there were many life forms and entities present on this planet earlier on. And it suggests that some of them had mobility. They can go into space and come back. They can go into other dimensional spaces and indeed come back. So the reality that there might be aliens or extraterrestrials masked within those traditional stories, I think is very real, very telling. The Orisha, the Loa, indeed may have a relationship to extraterrestrials, if not be extraterrestrial in some way or on their own. And just, we've given them a title, a label, a meaning that makes sense to us as we continue to learn more about our past. I predict that will evolve over time, and we will be able to properly label many ancient stories and legends and traditions with science. So aliens absolutely in a manner could be, okay, he's asking a question, I think. So would aliens be the manner in which spirit chooses to communicate because you give it the imagery? No. And that's why I didn't respond earlier to your God comment. Because we are God, we are manifestations of God, we are a diverse and ultimate expression of God. And everybody hears the voice of God. Everybody. Now, having said that, not everybody listens to the voice of God. And if it makes more practical sense to you, not many of you listen to your own damn voice. You listen to your mama voice, you listen to your pastor voice, you listen to your imam voice, you listen to my voice, you listen to Oloye voice, you listen to Otun voice, you listen to Nicki Minaj voice, you listen to Robin Roberts voice, but you don't listen to your own. And let's look at it. Are you protecting your health? Are you protecting your spirit? What are you putting in your mouth? What are you allowing to go into your ears? So, we inherently, the human race, have an issue with not only our relationship to God, but our relationship to self. So in your questioning, Craig Burns, it opens up many other distinctions. Mental health.
Yes.
Your mental health is not in balance, then you might perceive, the ghost to be an alien. You might perceive the alien to be a rock. You might perceive the rock to be God. You might perceive God to be the rump. May he rest in peace, our former elected official. So I call him the rump. Y'all know who I'm talking about. So that orange guy. So if we're not doing what Oloye suggested early on in this show, which is taking care of your vessel, your body, then you can't adequately be addressing your mind, your spirit, your emotions. You can't eat BS. You can't continue to live on the dead carcasses of animal, the pus and mucus of cows and chickens, artificial this, artificial that, synthesized fake food, and expect your body to do you right, nor your spirit, your energy, your emotions. Get some diabetics under the sound of my voice know exactly what I'm talking about. How high your sugar level is, how low your sugar level is, will absolutely affect your behavior. your behavior. And you can go from one emotional stream to the other without even being called on it, without even being aware, if you're not conscious.
They gotta also be conscious that through a lot of the changes that they go through, there's a lot of energetic and spiritual changes that people go through. And at times people truly do not understand why some of these changes are manifesting. Some deem the changes as a negative, some deem the changes as an elevation. But in through that, if you can just be obedient in that time, it'll be shocking what you can manifest outside of that. And so I think that those of us that are going through different areas of life, these lessons that are given to us about certain things that maybe happen in our lives, certain relationships that end, certain traumas that we have faced, is because those are the things that we have to go through to align ourselves with the destiny that we came here to fulfill. And no matter what difficulty we are seeing here on this temporal level, to just bear in mind that at one point there was something that was chosen by you in Olorun, in heaven, before coming into this to this manifestation of the temporal reign here. And it's all about how you go through it. The worst things happen to the best of people. But sometimes what the difference is those people who are supposed to be so spiritually elevated are the ones that go through things the worst sometimes. Rather than to be able to stand still, we talked about a lot of what the elders used to say. When all this stuff is going on around you, they used to say 2 words: be still.
Be still and know.
Yes.
Be still and know.
Yes.
And I would add to that, I might even be guilty of rewriting that. Be still and know that ye are God. Be still and know that ye are God.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to speak directly to you, Craig. It's not just talking to our higher self. Your higher self is a segment of God. Mm-hmm. All world religious sacred texts suggest God spit out humanity from itself, mm-hmm. or created humanity from itself, or shaped humanity in the earth, in the clay, and then breathed its own spirit into humanity. And the challenge for some of you who are not hearing my cousin Oloye clearly, when he talks about, thinking we are as high as God, because I don't want, you to misinterpret what I'm saying as sort of holding the line of Judaic, Islamic, Christian orientation to humanity, to God. When I see the Trinity, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, I see ancestors, I see Ori, and then I see humanity. I see us bringing those things together. So our limitations as humans, sometimes we call them flaws, come from Earth. Earth has laws like gravity, like width and length and space and height. So there's room for error. There's room for gray. There's room for the black inside the yin yang symbol. So yes, there's room for humans to do bad things, to make error. But that's why we're here. This is a bit of a testing ground, a playground for us to grow as spirits, ultimately as gods, and return to the spirit as even greater gods. And some of us will return again, maybe in another human incarnation, or even in other life form incarnations for which we don't have a full understanding yet. I indeed believe plants, animals have a spirit. Mm-hmm. I would even go as far as to say that they have a soul. Mm-hmm. I embrace animism wholeheartedly, embrace animism. I've seen the effects of talking to a tree. I've seen the effects of treating a plant, an animal, a human being with a certain degree of sacredness, and then getting a response indeed from that. So I think it is man's attempt, particularly the children of man who have arrived on the planet the most recently, it is their attempt to sort of limit, box in, brand in what God is. Their desire is to find the God code, if you will, so that we don't, just like folks seeking the shortcuts, so that we don't have to do the work, so that we don't have to focus on all the spiritual exercises that you all are committed to, because we got this code and we can then just write it into your DNA.
Absolutely. And within us.
Thank you, Otun, because she knows what I'm doing. She knows I'm trying to get that picture. So she made sure she was even and she was smiling and everything. She's figured out my body language. Go ahead, cousin.
Yo, threw me way off. It was like jujitsu on me right here.
Yeah.
You go, Otun.
I know I've been absorbing all of this, because some of the things that I was gonna say, Divine has just been loving on you all and flooding you with that good herbal information, and you Baba Oloye, cousin, with the encouragement. So it's basically, for me, I feel that it's an easy recipe. There is no shortcut, no matter what kind of cheat sheet you have, moves you make, no matter how you try to duck and dodge, you're going to repeat those cycles, and you're going to end up right back in those same situations. It doesn't have to be the same people, the same place, the same things, but it will be similar. You will be able to be in the space to where you recognize, man, this again, yes, that again, until you understand that there is no magic pill. There is no, this isn't Harry Potter. It's going to require work. It's going to require some amount of effort on each person's part to achieve the growth they want. And at the end of the day, it's not so much as, oh, I couldn't get this far, or people say, oh, I do this and God didn't do this for me. Okay, well, how far did you go? Did you quit? Did it become something that you're doing every day? Is it a ritual now? Because we have to also understand that there's a saying, faith without works is dead. You can't just go, oh God, give me, and then just sit there or go look out the window. What are you doing in your meantime to do the work? How are you growing? How are you evolving? How are you elevating? Are you putting in the work, or are you just sitting there twiddling your thumbs, hoping that something drop in your lap? Because it doesn't work that way. We all have to do the work, and we must remember to be in the mindset to give ourselves the grace and not be so hard on the things that we do or don't do, because some progress is better than no progress. I was always taught that something beats the nothing. So as long as you're putting one foot in front of the other, even for some people, so much as getting up out the bed in the morning, going in there, washing your face, brushing your teeth. For some people, that may seem like a lot. But if you can get up and you can do that, that's something. So remember to applaud yourself in the small victories. It's going to be bit by bit. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Applaud yourself in the small victories, but keep moving. And that's going to be the key. You don't have to accomplish mountains in a minute, but keep moving, because the little things will eventually, over time, add up to very big things. So you have to be willing to at least move your feet.
And ask for what you need. Ask. You have not because ye ask not. Ask for help. Ask for support. Ask for guidance. Ask for the resources. Ask. Be willing to ask. Cold mouth does not get fed.
And then understand, when we're difficult on ourselves, we develop more blockages. When we are gentle on ourselves, in what we call in Yoruba, Iwa Pele, to be gentle, have gentle character. That is, as my cousin was saying, to be able to forgive yourself for maybe choices that weren't the best. Forgive yourself for not maybe fulfilling everything you feel that you should be. Being gentle on yourself and not so holding on to things that in essence cause more blockages in what you desire to accomplish. I think I shared before, and I'll quickly share. That is the premise of what even Chinese medicine is. And why is Chinese medicine so just different than Western medicine? Because it looks at root and it looks at what is blocked. And they realize that when it's blocked, it's not getting the nourishment that it's supposed to get. So therefore, the first goal is to find out where your blockages are. Once they find out where your blockages are, then they work on that area to open up that area to get natural flow of energy and blood flow through that place. The chi, your chi. Well, it's interesting because chi, when it comes to the Igbo, it said that's another way of saying God. So that's saying your chi is your God consciousness flowing through your body that allows you to be and rise up and elevate to who you're supposed to be. So you have to see how these words kind of tie in now. And it's all about how you embody what the meanings and definitions of these words. Without chi force, there is no life when it comes to the traditional African medicines. So in that, be gentle on yourself and find out where your blockages are. And then work on opening up those blockages so that you have the divine flow through your body that will allow you to facilitate a full realm of healing, of life, of love. What they say all the time, love and light, all of that in your life.
Ashe, and I would also add to that it also lends to the idea of being mindful of our mindsets. We have to look at part of doing the work is being mindful of the things that we think, because a lot of the times people say, "Oh, watch with your words have power." Well, before you have words, your words start as what?
Thoughts.
Thought. So we have to be mindful of what we think as well as what we speak.
Mm-hmm.
When you want to manifest something, when you're praying on something, or even when you're speaking on something to someone, and you hear someone go, I want to such, if I can get that right there. Don't say if, say when. Be intentional in the things that you want, because if implies the possibility of failure. If leaves room for what you cannot receive. And since that is something that we want to eliminate, in the essence of we have what we say, your mindset, change your vocabulary. Don't use the word if, remove that. Use the word when, because when puts you in the energy of expectation. When puts you in the energy of being ready to receive. When is you letting the universe and you letting spirit know, I don't need to know your plan, but I'm expecting. So I know you're going to do this thing. And while you are knowing that, do the work inside. Start investigating and going deep and finding out the things that you need to pull out, things that need to be studied, things that need to be changed or altered. And while you're doing that, you will see the results of that which you have already spoken out into the universe. You will see the residuals and the fruit of that coming back, as long as you are willing to do the work. It doesn't have to be a mile, but it does have to be movement.
You know, with that also, when you can do that, it allows that things just manifest to you without even you working hard. Without even you working hard. You show up at an interview. Otun knows what I'm talking about. You show up at an interview. You're in an interview for 5 minutes and you're hired on the spot. Why? Because the divine is in alignment with you. It's nothing that you had to work for, because you did the work before. You did prayers, you did offerings, you shared this is what you need. And you know what? Spirit said, since you came to me like you were supposed to, let me show you who I am.
Yes.
Let me show you my divine power. Now, you need this. You have ways to make it happen. Now, it's all about the work that you're going to do when you get there. Because
we have to be willing to do what we can, and everything ain't always our job to do. Sometimes we have to learn how to really, what they say, let go and let God. Sometimes we are our own worst enemies, and sometimes the blockage that you feel is you.
That's right.
Because they're worrying about, well, how can I do this? How can I do this? And this needs to happen, and that needs to happen. And the whole time you saying I, that may be above your pay grade. Sometimes you need to focus on the little things and what you can actually do, and not worry about how those other things are happening. Because as you're doing what you can and what you know to do, that other stuff is getting worked out for you. So that way, when you turn around and go, okay, well, I did this, but now I need to, oh, okay. Thank you.
And how does it show that it's in divine alignment? When you go to bed late and then you set your alarm for a certain time and you wind up waking up 2 hours early and you're trying to figure out why. Then you go back and check your email and say, oh, that's why. And then
you in a Zoom meeting in 15 minutes. That I forgot about. Yeah, that was me.
So now all of a sudden you're like, wow. And now you just take your steps because it's already being shown to you. You got to look at the pieces that happened beforehand. You wasn't supposed to miss this. And if you just follow what you're supposed to do, everything is already in divine order for you. It's already worked out. Okay. It's already done. It's that old church song. It's already done. I can't sing it. So it's already done. It's already manifested. It's already in place. It's already taken care of. Now step into it. And once you step into it, you'll see that other stuff inside of that stuff will open up for you too.
Ashe. And let me make an announcement too before I forget. We're having a virtual event. It was originally scheduled to be at the historic Presbyterian Museum, the Louisiana State Museum here in Jackson Square, French Quarter, New Orleans. It will now be held entirely online. So I'm officially inviting everyone to mark your calendar. Thursday, August 5th, 2021. Thursday, August 5th, 2021, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time to 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, exactly an hour and a half. This event is sponsored by, funded by, promoted by Louisiana State Museum and Friends of the Cabildo. This program is taking place virtually on Zoom, not in person. Join us for an evening exploring the spiritual connections and influence of Voodoo and Black masking traditions, moderated by curator Kim Vaz DeVille, hosted in connection with the current exhibition, Mystery in Motion, African American Masking and Spirituality in Mardi Gras. This exhibit is now being featured at the Presbyterian here in Jackson Square. A few more months, I believe, I think toward the end of August. Then it's going to Paris, to a museum in Paris for a year. This particular Zoom event will talk specifically about Mardi Gras. We will share how our spiritual practices have shaped our path as Black masking Mardi Gras Indians, parade members, leaders in carnival tradition. And since at least the 1800s, Voodoo beliefs and rituals have been intertwined with Mardi Gras masking tradition. Panelists would explore how the history and legacy of Voodoo in New Orleans has influenced their practices, as well as discuss how they incorporate contemporary spirituality into Carnival as current practitioners. You know, Mardi Gras is known as Carnival around the world, West Africa and in Brazil. This event is free and open to the public. It is now taking place entirely online via Zoom. Pre-registration is required, and a Zoom link will be sent. Give me a second. I'm going to copy and paste it for y'all. And a Zoom link will be sent to your email, to the registrants by way of email on the day of the program. So we ask you to follow this Zoom link here. Oh my God. That looked like I got the whole code from the entire page. Let me try that again. It's probably a PDF, but it still shouldn't look,
10 seconds.
it still shouldn't look crazy like that in the chat. So let me try that again. No, it's not coming through. Oh no, this is better. This might be better. Yeah, the last one that I sent, I know it's long, but it's accurate. So it'll take you directly to, let me make sure before I tell a lie. It might not be complete. So I'm going to post it on Facebook. All three of us will post it in some way in our groups on our Facebook page so that you can access the link. Our panelists will be Kishana Jones-Lee, is a world-renowned actress, singer, educator, casting director, arts administrator, and religious culture bearer from New Orleans. She has a BA in theater, performing arts, and speech communication from Dillard University, and an MA in arts administration from the University of New Orleans. Jones-Lee has performed in plays, including Broadway's Ain't Misbehavin', Shaking That Mess Out of Misery, and for colored girls who have considered suicide when the rainbow is enough. And has sung with Shades of Praise New Orleans interracial gospel choir, the New Orleans Black Choral, and the New Orleans Opera. She is a practicing Catholic, and she has studied various African traditional religions, such as Ifa and Odanani. Jones-Lee has been a member of the crew of Oshun for 5 years and serves as a public relations officer. She participated as a rider in the Zulu Parade for 20 years as a diamond cutter. I also am on the panel, a high-profile psychic, spiritualist, advisor, practitioner, minister, sought-after practitioner in the city of New Orleans, Voodoo culture and tradition. I have been a resident of New Orleans for 23 years, and I'm an actor and cultural performer in the historic Trinay neighborhood. I'm a longtime member and advisor of Congo Square Preservation Society, Fogbar Tremé Association, and Greater Tremé Consortium. I'm also a Black masking Indian Maroon chief. And as a former evangelical minister of music, I have been ministering in African traditional religious systems for more than 35 years, and have been featured on Buried Worlds with Don Wildman, Monstrum, PBS, the Atlas of Cursed Places, Nat Geo, among other movies, TV shows, and documentaries. My suits are featured in the current exhibit, Ministry in Motion, African American Masking and Spirituality in Mardi Gras at the Presbytere. We will also be featuring Big Chief Alfred Duchette, is a lifelong New Orleanian and a man of many talents who has worked as a carpenter, race car driver, horseman, nightclub owner, musician, and Black masking Indian. In the 1970s, he and his brothers owned the club Nightcap 1 and Nightcap 2, which hosted such acts as the Meters, the Neville Brothers, Marvin Gaye, and Deacon John. As race car builders and drivers, they were the first African Americans to integrate the track at Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and they raced in Louisiana, Texas, and Alabama. Big Chief Duchette began sewing suits as a black masking Indian in 1989. His 2001 Marie Laveau suit depicted a graveyard scene of the Voodoo Queen. He was inspired to create the song Marie Laveau, which can be found on YouTube, Marie Laveau by Alfred Duchette, and his name is spelled Doucette, and the song is called Marie Laveau, 1998, after the Revered Voodoo Queen came to him in a dream and gave him the song. So Big Chief Duchette has performed songs from his Marie Coming Out EP with acts such as Bambula 2000, James Andrews, Trombone Shorty, Dr. John, Cyril Neville, Kermit Ruffins, the Dirty Dozen Brass Band, and many others. He has performed at venues around the city and at the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival. I have performed with him at Kermit Ruffins' Treme Club around the corner here from my house, French Quarter Fest, and Satchmo Summerfest. We will also feature Risa. Many of you know her as Cinnamon Black. Basile is a cultural ambassador, entertainer, big queen of the spirit of Fayaya, featuring Big Chief. Oh wow, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Victor Harris, Big Chief Victor Harris of the Mandingo Warriors, Black Masking Indian Tribe, and a voodoo practitioner and reader at the New Orleans Historic Voodoo Museum. She is a cultural consultant for documentaries, film industry projects, and media outlets such as ESPN, Spike TV, the Travel Channel, and Fusion Network. She was also the producer of New Orleans Live, which aired on the cable access channel NOA TV. She has danced with Nkafu, traditional African dance company, and Casa Samba, a Brazilian dance company, both based in New Orleans. Basile masked as a renegade-style baby doll and has masked with the Gold Digger baby dolls and the T. Eva Ernie Kado baby dolls. I'm also a Gold Digger baby doll. Some of you all have seen that banner, that gold banner hanging on my wall. She has masked with family and sister groups and has founded several groups of baby dolls, including the now defunct New Orleans Baby Dolls and the well-known Treme $1 Million Baby Dolls. And of course, our beloved moderator will be Kim Vaz-Daville, is a professor of education at Xavier University of Louisiana and co-creator of the exhibition Mystery in Motion, African American Masking and Spirituality in Mardi Gras. Her research focuses on expressive arts in response to social trauma. Her book, The Baby Dolls, Breaking the Race and Gender Barriers of the New Orleans Mardi Gras Tradition, circa 2013, was the basis for a Louisiana State Museum exhibition and selected for One Book, One New Orleans. One Book, One New Orleans is a local book or literary organization, I should say. Her anthology, Walking Ratty, The Baby Dolls of New Orleans, circa 2018, further explored the tradition. She is currently collaborating with Norman Francis, Xavier's longtime president, on his biography. So we certainly do invite you to go to your Facebook page, if you can't wait for me to do it, and search Voodoo and Spirituality in Black Masking Traditions. This is a free online Zoom event, Thursday, August 5th, 2021 at 6 p.m. U.S. Central Standard Time, and it will be right about an hour and a half long. So I appreciate your patience with that announcement. Giving me the opportunity to share that internationally. I appreciate everyone in the chat who's been with us. Of course, I love and appreciate my cousins, Otun, Ifatomiwa, Otun, Ifatomiwa, and Oloye, Ifawole, Oladeji, Ifatande. I certainly do appreciate you as well. I'm so grateful for y'all and what we're doing and what we're moving forward. At some point, we're going to meet at the crossroads with Bishop Cheeks. Remember, I gave y'all some homework. I told y'all to Google Bishop Rainier Cheeks, Bishop Rainey Cheeks, for those who love and know him. We're building a virtual sanctuary, much like this. So this will be an extension, a growing extension of your Ile, beloved Oloye, your Ile, beloved Otun, your house, Shamafia, your house, Enzo Khalifa, who's doing great things in California, by the way, Enzo Khalifa. So tune in, check in, understand that we have a job to do. We're here for a reason. We're not here to entertain or to be entertained, though you might find it entertaining. This is about life. This is about survival. This is about life and death. And so we are grateful under the eyes of the great powers of the universe to have the opportunity to minister and administer spiritual healing, spiritual food, spiritual ministry to the masses. And we all collectively and individually invite you in to our houses, to our sacred spaces, to our healing centers. So please jot down my cousin Oloye Ifawole, Oladeji Ifatande, his contact information, Chief Priest of IleIfaOladeji, Oladeji, Inner Consciousness Spiritual Center in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. His email address, IleIfaOladeji@gmail.com. IleIfaOladeji, I think that's your Instagram
Yes.
tag. Okay, so that's his Instagram tag. And also, please support this house and this spiritual ministry, this Ile of the beloved Otun, Ifatomiwa of Armoredingrace. She's open to everyone, men, women, and children, but certainly to meet the needs of women in a way that both my cousin and myself may not necessarily address. And I must say, I probably don't say it enough. You know, my house is absolutely LGBTQ plus friendly. My house is open to everyone, so I don't wave a rainbow flag. I don't have a rainbow flag, behind my head. Most of you know, that I'm openly gay, though I'm celibate and I don't date and I don't have a lover, but I support my community and I'm here for my community. So this is indeed about family. So I didn't want it to be a gay show any more than I wanted it to be just a voodoo show. It's a little bit of everybody here. Ifas here, Christians are here, Rastas are here, Muslims come through here, Hindus come through here, gays and straights come through here. The 5 genders pass through here. So I don't want to speak for my cousins, but I certainly speak for myself. My house is open to everyone, irregardless of gender.
My house is also, as long as you come with good Iwapele.
Good Iwapele, respect.
Yes.
And follow the protocols of the house.
I do not sit there and I forgot what even that word is. I don't go by that. So whatever it is that you do in your life, if you're living your life in a good way and you wish to be a part and you wish to learn and grow in the tradition, you're welcome. But leave the drama somewhere else and just come with good heart and good spirit, good integrity, and then we will help you.
Ashe. Same from it. All of that. Exactly. Ashe.
Ashe. I got information that the link doesn't work. So let me try again. Give me a second here. And see if I got it now. I think I pushed the wrong link generator. I tried to copy the URL and that didn't work. So I used the Facebook link URL shortening tool. So what you see now, somebody in the chat tried that for me. That should get you there. That should get you there. And please, I don't feel like I need to beg or say it every day or, aggress you on it. Some of you have not followed me at blogtalkradio.com/the-divine-prince. The hyphen is the little dash or subtraction mark, the Divine Prince. blogtalkradio.com/the-divine-prince. Some of you have not followed me on YouTube, have not liked the show, have not left commentary, have not shared. And indeed, we are open to your commentary, your criticisms, your likes, your loves, your dislikes. We're open to it, but we certainly do appreciate some continued feedback on our efforts here in the show. And certainly we appreciate those of you who are contacting us individually and collectively to get your work done and to join our houses and to join our collective community. So it is.
Says it works.
Say that again.
Fuji says it works. It's there.
Okay, great. So now you have the correct link so that you can join the August 5th event. I have smart lighting, so I don't know why my light just went out. But anywho, maybe it knows. Oh, it does. It knows that my show ends at this time, and it's programmed to turn off automatically. So everything is working. Yeah, I got a smart house, y'all. I got a smart house. So thank you all. Greetings, Leanne Richard. We certainly appreciate you, beloved. Chef Bougie, my beloved cousin, Armoredingrace, Shamafia Rothschild. Listen, you should be an actress. I don't know what's going on with you, beloved. I hope you receive this in love. I see you on Instagram. Shamafia comes through with these accents. So I don't know if it's intentional. I don't know if it's a spiritual thing with you. I have a similar thing. For instance, when I get really angry, I start speaking Arabic and gesturing for people's throats. It's really not cute. You don't want to see it. Yeah, I can get into certain moods. I can go into voodoo possession and speak Creole, speak French fluently, speak Spanish fluently. And Shamafia, just follow Shamafia on Instagram. Girl be coming through. Sometimes it's like she's British, sometimes it's like she's South African. I don't know if it's intentional. I really don't. I don't know if it's intentional. I don't know if it's an extension of some kind of acting skill or ability, or if it might, on a serious level, might be something else. But I find it impressive. I do. So I appreciate you all. Let's interlink beyond the show. Let's befriend each other in social media. Join my TikTok, join my Twitter. Visit New Orleans, follow the protocols, cover your face, wash your hands, and come and see me sometime. All is a blessing. Greetings and salutations, one and all. Enjoy your day.
I'm sorry. Just what she said, and she fight chickens. Bye. I'm done.
No. She's serious. She got a yard full of chickens, big chickens. She got chickens and roosters, honey, and they love her. She can pick them. She is like a well-trained practitioner. She can pick those chickens up. They don't blink. They don't bat an eye. They don't fear her. She can hold them upside down. She can flip them around, and they just fall into trance with her.
Oh, chicken whisperer. Okay.
Yeah, she's a chicken whisperer. So indeed, if she, went through the proper initiations, and gained the rights to the knife, that would be Shamafia.
Okay.
Because that chicken is just gonna surrender.
Okay.
And let Shamafia just do her thing. I've seen it in the videos. It's powerful, girl.
I know who to call when I get my land up, and I'm gonna call her to wrangle some chickens.
She don't fight. You don't cockfight, do you, Shamafia? Now I ain't trying to get you in no trouble with the law, but her chickens look too well cared for, so she ain't doing no cockfighting. Her chickens are well fed, well cared for, healthy chickens. And even her roosters are very passive with her. I've never seen her roosters aggress her, really, at all in her videos. It's amazing. I've got to go to Georgia. I do plan to go to Georgia sometime in the next 6 months, depending on what this pandemic is going to do. And Shamafi is one of the people that I'm going to see. I got a list of people in Georgia that I need to reconnect with. I have a bishop, elder bishop, Bishop L, in Atlanta area in Georgia, who I helped to assist in creating a church back in the 90s with. I got to go see in Georgia. So Shamathia Rothschild, I'll be there soon enough, beloved. Not on no plane. I'm going to have to drive because I can't trust people hygiene. But I'll be coming through. I'll be coming through soon enough. I appreciate you all. I love you all. I know you all got a schedule. I've got to go eat. You know how I do. I've got to go eat. I did have, a protein drink before I came on, but I've got to go eat some real food now. Some field peas with some snap green beans in it. Well seasoned, of course, from my garden. There ain't no pig and no lard in this field peas whatsoever. I don't use that to season my beans and my greens. Don't use the pork. No. I use seasoning. You use enough of the right seasonings. You can get some, it tastes like my foot in it. It do.
He used hog mouse.
No hog mouse. Yes, indeed. Until next time.
I love y'all. Huh?
Chef Bougie, tell your wife I said hello. I'm going to call her soon.
Yes, tell my cousin hello.
Peace and love, joy and prosperity.
Peace. Odabo.
And of course, Blog Talk Radio, thank you so much for sticking in here with me and always for your patience. Sometimes I'll be distracted. I don't mean to ignore Blog Talk Radio. Y'all like to listen, so I'll let y'all listen. But I'm certainly appreciative for my international listening audience on Blog Talk Radio. And I look forward to being here high noon, Monday, U.S. Central Standard Time for Revolutionary Hoodoo, New Orleans Voodoo Secrets and Recipes.
A sacred spot where corn festivals were celebrated.
Asheo and Ashe.
The almost Indians prepared.
Odabo.
Centuries before our arrival. Congo Square, a sacred spot where corn festivals
You all
were
enjoy your day.
celebrated.
You
All right, go eat.